Today I'm going to be making a roast. First thing I'm gonna do is wash this roast up and get it ready to cook. I just rinsed my meat. I'm just gonna put some onion powder on it, some garlic powder, some pepper, and some salt. Like I said, what you do is up to you. If you want to put onions in your roast, you can put onions. I prefer onion powder. You know I'm a picky eater, so therefore I cook it the way that I want to eat it. So we have our seasoning, and now we're going to put some flour on our meat. If you make a roast, a lot of people will buy canned gravies and stuff and put it on their roast and decide that, you know, that's the way to make their gravy. But if you will put flour on your meat before you cook it, you'll have your own gravy. I put some flour on my meat. I'm going to make sure it's coated really well because we want it to make a nice gravy. And I'm going to put a little oil in my pot. Doesn't take much. You just want enough oil to coat the bottom so that your meat does not stick. So, got my pan coated. And we're going to put it on the stove. And we're going to brown our meat. Just put it in there. We're going to let it brown on both sides, and then it's going to be ready to go for the slow cooker. I'm going to do a little cleanup while I wait for that to brown a little bit. One thing about me when it comes to cooking in the kitchen is I like to do meals that are fast and simple. I don't like to do long drawn out recipes. I like to make it quick, and most of the time they take 10 or 15 minutes to prepare. And I love to cook in the slow cooker, and then I'm done and I can go do what else I want to do. I can play games or make a YouTube video or bake. So anyhow, my meat is browning, and while my meat is browning, I am going to take my carrots and I'm just going to cut them in small pieces. I actually bought the bag of mini carrots. A lot of times I'll buy the other kind, the whole carrots. It's up to you. You can do what you want. If I see any dark, ugly spots, I'll go ahead and cut them off first. And then I'm just going to cut them in half. I feel like they cook a little faster, and to me they're just better if you go ahead and take the time to cut them in half. Halfway through, you want to make sure you flip your roast over. And now let it brown on the other side. It smells so good. A lot of times I will take my roast and turn it into vegetable soup after. If you haven't seen my recipe for making vegetable soup, you might want to check that out on one of my earlier YouTube videos. Okay, my carrots are all cut up. And let me show you my roast. Okay, I'm going to turn the fire off. As you can see, my roast is nice and brown, and that's why it will make a nice, thick, rich gravy. So now I'm going to just put it in, well, let me show you my slow cooker. I'm actually using my favorite slow cooker because you can cook slow with it or you can cook fast. I have cooked a meal in it in 8 hours, and I have cooked a meal in it in as little as 2.5 hours. This one is going to be about 4 hours, just because of the temperature I set it on, and the carrots, they take a little longer to cook. You just plug it in, set it the temperature that you want it. This is a griddle on the bottom, and then you set the slow cooker part on top. After you have browned your meat, make sure that you plug your slow cooker in and add water. And then you just put your carrots into the pot. I try to season my layers that I put in my crock pot. Like I said, at point, some people would like to put fresh onions in at this time. You may want to put celery or, I don't know, whatever you like in your roast. But I just like roast, carrots, and potatoes. So I'm going to get those potatoes ready, and I'll be right back. So I'm getting my potatoes all peeled and ready for my roast. I generally put in a 2-pound roast. This was a sirloin tip, so a 2-pound sirloin tip roast. Browned on both sides with flour. Then I put in 1 pound of carrots. This time I used the baby carrots. I usually peel about 10 of the red potatoes. Red potatoes are definitely my favorite. And so it's really a good something to fix if you're going to be out of the house just for the afternoon and you want to set it on number 4 on the dial. And you're only going to be gone maybe 4 hours, then it'll be ready when you get back. Now, if you decide you want to let it cook all day while you're working, then you set it back to number 3 or 2, and then you can cook it up to 8 hours, and you can cook all day while you're working. And like I said before, I am a do it quick cook. I don't like to be in the kitchen cooking food for very long, so I fix recipes that are simple and fast. I get them together. They're usually in my slow cooker or my tri-slow cooker. And then I can go on and enjoy my baking time because it's what I like to do the most. After you get your potatoes peeled, and when you're using the red potatoes, it's not necessary to peel off every bit of the skin, although I peel off most of it. I don't want those potato eyes in my roast. Make sure you always peel towards you so that you don't cut your fingers, and that way you can use your thumb as a guide. And you're getting those potatoes peeled. Now we're going to wash up our potatoes and we're going to dice them. When you're done peeling your potatoes, you can just throw those potato peels in the trash can, or I have heard some people say that they help in their garden. I put them in my garden one time and I grew potatoes. I think they were just supposed to be there to help the roots or something of my flowers. I don't even know what flower I used them on, but I grew potatoes. So now just dice them up. Put them in your roast. Like I said, be very careful the way you cut them. You don't want to lose a finger. Now we have everything in the pot. We have our potatoes, we have our carrots, and we have our meat. And we have our slow cooker turned on, number 4. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and put some more seasoning. Before we only seasoned our meat. So we added some more onion powder. We've added some more garlic. I don't put a whole lot of garlic, but I do like some in it. We want to generously add black pepper and some more salt. Usually about a palm of salt is enough. I'll let you see about how much pepper and seasonings I put on there. You don't want to drown them because then they'll be too spicy. And then last but not least, I like to put about a tablespoon of butter. I think it makes the carrots and the potatoes have a better taste. Then you just put your lid on and you walk away and you go do whatever you want to do while it cooks for 4 hours. And there you have it. And I'll show you my pot roast when it's done. So our pot roast is done. And look how rich that gravy is. See, you don't need to thicken it up at all. But if you should decide you want to thicken your gravy up, you can. It will make it more like a stew if you thicken it up. But if you decide to, then what you will do is add some flour to a little bit of the gravy and whisk that up with your whisk, and then pour it back into the crock pot and let it cook a little bit longer. At this time, you'll want to taste it and see if it needs any more seasoning, and if it does, just add whatever it needs. As you can see, tonight I made it more like a stew. My husband actually likes the gravy the other way, but I wanted to show you both ways so you would know. So that's what's for dinner. Yum. So in this video, I also have another recipe for you. I am going to be making Italian roast beef sandwiches. It's very simple. Basically, I can still cook my roast in my slow cooker, or I also am cooking some roast in my oven because I needed a lot of roast. It was for our Christmas dinner. I'm a little late getting this video out, but I've been busy with my new job, so I am finally getting it done. Here I have 2 of the sirloin tip roast that I'm putting in my slow cooker. I also added water enough to almost cover them, and salt and pepper and garlic powder. I also have in my rectangular glass pan 2 more roast, also seasoned, and I'm going to cover them with Reynolds wrap and put them in the oven. I generally cook the ones in the oven about 2 hours, and then they are ready for shredding, and then the 2 in the crock pot will take about 4 hours. After my roast are done, I go ahead and take them out and I put them into my electric skillet. I make sure I pick out any fatty pieces that might be in the roast, which generally with a sirloin tip roast, that's very minimal. After I get all of my meat shredded up pretty good, I will go ahead and add the juices from cooking the meat back into the electric skillet. And then I will add my zesty Italian seasoning. I usually use a dry zesty Italian seasoning, and I put in 1 package per each 2 pounds of roast. And then I'll just let that simmer for about maybe 30 minutes to an hour so that it gets the juices cooked down really well. After the juices are cooked down, I serve them on a croissant or on a hoagie. And I just butter the bread and place them in the oven because I like my bread a little bit crispy. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and join me in the next video. Bye.